Hi, I'm Alan from Finance PNG. Today I will be answering some of the common questions that a buyer will need to know when taking out a bank loan when purchasing a property. Come, let's check it out. Hi, I have a special guest for today's episode. Sitting beside me is Kenneth from Kenneth Mortgage. Hi Kenneth, thank you for your time.
Hi Alan.
Hi, can you have a short intro of yourself?
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Kenneth from Keyquest Mortgage. Basically, we are a mortgage broker firm which we help clients to look for the lowest interest rate package in the market and providing them an unbiased opinion from the different banks and telling them what are the pros and cons between the different banks' interest rate package.
So I guess he's the best person to answer all the questions I have. So let's start off with the first question. Is taking a bank loan really so unstable compared to the HDB loan?
Taking bank loan, I wouldn't say that it's unstable because for bank loans wise, right, they do have fixed rate package. So meaning to say banks nowadays offer 2 to 3 years fixed rate, okay, which client will actually have a peace of mind if they actually go for a fixed rate package, and it will actually be slightly lower compared to HDB interest rates as well.
So what is the main difference between a HDB loan and a bank loan?
Okay, the main difference I will say that for HDB loan, right, customers can actually loan up to 90%, whereby a bank loan is only up to 75%. And for HDB loan, they can actually come out with very minimum cash, okay, whereas bank loan actually require 5% minimum cash. The balance they can actually use cash or CPF.
Is there any other package other than the 3 package which is commonly offered by the bank?
Yes, which is bank spot rate. So as we all know, there's fixed, SIBOR and fixed deposit, and one more package which the banks offer are bank spot rate.
What is SIBOR?
SIBOR is actually an interbank lending rate. So banks to bank actually lend money to each other. That is how they actually derive SIBOR packages.
What type of buyer should take SIBOR package?
For SIBOR package, it really depends because nowadays SIBOR has already been at 1.5% plus. So usually most clients, I think those who will actually go for a SIBOR package are looking at a no lock-in, or there's some flexibility, or it's really a very good package. But if not, most customers nowadays, they will actually go for fixed or fixed deposit rate.
Other than SIBOR package offering by the bank, there's a fixed rate, FD link package offering by most of the banks. So what is the difference between the two packages?
Okay, fixed rate is actually an interest rate which will not fluctuate, whereas a fixed deposit rate is still subject to fluctuation. And fixed deposit rate is actually linked to the bank's fixed deposit. So let's say today, banks have 36 months or 12 months or 8 months or 9 months fixed deposit. So the rates the banks derive is by consumer putting funds in the banks. Okay, so today let's say you walk into any banks for a fixed deposit, example 9 months, they're offering you maybe 0.4. So that is how they derive the fixed deposit rate for the home loan packages.
Is it better to take the lock-in package?
Okay, it really depends on the client needs because sometimes for interest rate which without lock-in, okay, the rates tends to be a bit higher, whereas a lock-in package, right, tends to be lower in terms of the interest rate package.
I have a very interesting question here. If I want to purchase a new private property, what is the type of package should I take?
Okay, it really depends. It depends whether are you getting a building under construction or a completed project. For building under construction, the banks actually don't offer fixed rate. So we only have, say, fixed deposit rate, bank spot rate, and SIBOR package. So if it's a building under construction, most clients will actually go with a fixed deposit rate package or a bank spot rate package. But if today, let's say, if you are getting a completed project, most clients will actually go with a fixed rate, which in the market for completed, we have fixed, also SIBOR, also bank spot rate, and fixed deposit rate. So it really depends on what is the customer need also. Then we will advise accordingly which package is actually better or more suitable in their scenario.
For resale property, so what should they take note?
I would think resale will be similar. There is also the 4 package. So most of the clients for resale, we also actually encourage them to go for a fixed rate package. But again, I would say it depends on their scenario as well.
For refinance, what is the common package that the bank offering?
Same thing, it will be fixed, okay, SIBOR, bank spot rate, and fixed deposit rate.
Is it important to do refinance, and when do the homeowner need to do the refinance?
Most banks, the lock-in package is 2 years. So after 2 years, after the lock-in, most clients I will actually recommend to them to do a refinancing, because usually for banks interest rate at times on the 3rd or 4th year onwards, right, it might be slightly higher. So at times when we do a refinancing from bank A to bank B, potential saving for the 2 years might be $10,000 to $20,000.
Should a buyer take a shorter tenure loan, or should they maximize the tenure?
I would say also depending on what the client need as well, because shorter loan tenor meaning to say they pay lesser interest, a longer loan tenor they actually pay more interest. But for most of the client, what we suggest to them is that if you go for a longer loan tenor, although you might incur more interest, okay, but you can actually choose to repay every 2 years after the lock-in period, and this will actually help them to save more interest as well if they do a partial repayment every 2 years, and they will have more cash flow on hand, because meaning to say the monthly installment will actually be lower, but they have more cash. After 2 years, they can do a partial or lump sum payment for their outstanding housing loan.
Is it a good idea to choose the bank that the buyer have existing account?
It also really depends, because example, if they have existing account with bank A, also at that point of time, bank A has the lowest rate, we will actually recommend them to go with them. But at times, it really depends at the window where the client is applying the loan, which bank has the lowest rate, we will advise them accordingly. So not necessary that if they have existing account with bank A, they will get the lowest rate. It really depends on at that point of time what package is available in the market.
So what is the interest and the package like for commercial property?
For commercial property, currently in the market we have, say, fixed rate, bank spot rate, and also cyber package. So most of the time, for commercial property, above for fixed rate is above 2%, whereas spot rate is 1%. And based on the current market trend, whereby interest rate is always going up, we also recommend clients to consider for fixed rate packages.
So commercial owner also refinance?
Oh yes, definitely. In fact, for commercial property, right, it tends to be a bit higher compared to residential on the 3rd and 4th year. So actually when commercial property owners, be it company name or individual name, when they do a refinancing, they can actually save even more.
My last question for today. Any hidden costs when taking a bank loan that the borrower need to take note?
Nowadays, actually the bank loans are very transparent. Basically, when you purchase a property nowadays, you will need to bear legal fee costs, valuation fee costs, and fire insurance by yourself. So the banks don't give out this perk. Back then, before TDSR came out, okay, the banks are all giving all this perk. But nowadays, for new purchase, very straightforward. Banks are not allowed to give out all this perk. But then, to say that, right, for refinancing, the banks actually are giving out some perks in terms of helping them to ease a bit on the legal fee part.
That's all we have for today's episode. Thank you, Kenneth, for your time.
Hey, thanks, Alan.
Thank you. Do PM me if you have any questions, and remember to share, like this video, and do stay tuned for the next coming episode.